Basically, we're beating a dead horse here. Now, doesn't even matter that the January 6th committee has proved what we knew all along. Now, Donald Trump is encircled by multiple investigations. Now, he could end up being broke from all these investigations because he's going to have to pay out eventually, and he could serve jail time. But his sycophantic inbreds do not fucking care. The House January 6th committee, bless its fucking heart, went through it all again on Thursday. All the lawsuits Trump filed and lost attempting to overturn election results in the battleground states, including excerpts of judges' decisions, and they basically dismissed 61 of the 62 lawsuits. Number 62 was a minor technical issue that didn't change anything anyway. The pressure campaign by Trump on elected officials and legislators in battleground states trying to coerce them into helping him overturn the election, including the infamous hour-long phone call 4 days before the January 6th Klan insurrection to Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger when Trump asked him to find enough votes so that he could carry the state. He basically told Raffensperger to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have Trump pleaded, which he lost that state. Pressure on the Department of Justice to investigate allegations of election fraud, which resulted in Attorney General William Barr telling Trump that all his charges of fraud were bullshit just before he went public in an AP interview and resigned. A continuing campaign of pressure on the acting Attorney General, who replaced Barr, Jeffrey Rosen, and his underlings aimed at persuading the Justice Department to intervene with state legislators to help Trump overturn that election. The two-month tsunami of lies told by Trump after Election Day, claiming that the election was stolen when in reality it wasn't, he knew perfectly well that he had lost. The committee included video of Trump repeating stories about suitcases of votes and Dominion voting machines, claims that he had been told were false by aides and other officials, including Barr. The committee presented new information that Trump's team had plans months before Election Day that Trump would declare victory on election night whether he either won or lost, a lie that he's repeated relentlessly ever since. Now, Trump's conspiracy with an outside lawyer, John Eastman, and the chairs of state Republican parties around the country to submit slates of fake electors they hoped would confuse or delay the count of electoral votes, or even throw the election into the House of Representatives where Trump knew that he had the votes and would be declared winner of the 2020 election by a constitutional fiat. A powerful reminder of the Sunday night massacre when Trump's attempted appointment of the DOJ underling Jeffrey Clark as acting Attorney General ended only after officials at Justice and Trump's White House counsel, Pat Cipollone, threatened to resign in protest. Now, more and more details about Trump's plan, which began weeks before January 6th to send an angry Klan mob to the Capitol after his speech on Ellipse. He and his aides knew the mob would be armed and equipped with military equipment such as Kevlar vests, tactical helmets, riot shields, handguns, and rifles. Now, new information was presented from the recordings, texts, and emails that were finally given up by the Secret Service and Homeland Security after months of stonewalling. All the information backed up testimony that the committee had already received from White House aides about the predictions of violence and the firearms that the Secret Service knew were in the crowd at the Ellipse. Now, some of the new texts and emails contradicted sworn testimony by Trump aides like Jason Miller, who had previously told the committee that he knew nothing about the potential for violence on January 6th. The committee uncovered texts that showed he knew exactly what right-wing groups like the Proud Pricks and Oath Keepers were planning. The committee announced that it is reviewing previous testimony with an eye toward charging anyone that is proven to have lied. Now, and finally, the headline, the committee voted unanimously to issue a subpoena to Trump calling on him to provide documents and testify before the committee. Now, good luck with that shit, because the chances of getting Trump before the committee are almost nil. With Republicans likely to take over the House majority in January, hopefully not. In fact, it would take a luck or a miracle for the entire enterprise of this select committee to have any effect on Trump's seeming death grip on the Republican Party. After more than 20 hours of testimony and 9 hearings held over the course of 5 months, the committee's work hasn't even budged the needle of Trump's approval rating. According to the polling aggregator 538, Trump's average approval rating is at 40% at the beginning of the hearings early in the summer. It still stands at 40% when the hearings ended on Thursday. A Monmouth University poll at the beginning of the hearings found that 29% of Americans and 61% of Republicans believe that Joe Biden only won the 2020 election because of voter fraud, which they know that Biden won outright and it wasn't because of fraud. The exact same proportion believed the same thing at the close of the hearings. In fact, the Monmouth poll found that when the hearings began, 42% of Americans held the former squatter directly responsible for the January 6th assault on the Capitol. That number went down to 38% by last month, with the final hearing still to come, which they already had the final hearing. So as these congressional hearings have proceeded, a powerful department over in the executive branch has been assembling a criminal case against the former squatter for his theft and mishandling of government documents after he left office. The Department of Justice has been investigating Trump for his apparently illegal removing of thousands of documents and other materials from the White House when he left office. Some of the documents bear the highest classification mark that the intelligence agencies can use and were found in Trump's office and residence of Mar-a-Lago when the FBI searched the premises back in August. The DOJ investigation has tracked the House hearings almost month by month, and now in June, the month of the first committee hearing, the DOJ sent officials, including the leader of its counterintelligence division, Jay Bratt, to Mar-a-Lago to retrieve an envelope containing 38 classified documents that Trump asserted was the sum total of all the government-owned materials he had stored at Mar-a-Lago. Now, one of Trump's lawyers signed an official statement to that effect. A sworn affidavit that was proved false when the FBI discovered 11,000 more government-owned documents, including another 100 folders of highly classified documents during its August search. Basically, it's been written in these pages about the travails of the DOJ investigation, DOJ investigation in court over the last few months, as a Florida federal judge, Eileen Mercedes Cannon, has done her best to impede the government's investigation of the man who pointed her to the bench, Trump. Those travails appeared to come to an end on Thursday when the Supreme Court rejected Trump's emergency plea for the court to stay part of an order by the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals that removed the 100 or more so folders of classified documents from the special master appointed by Judge Cannon to review the entire Mar-a-Lago trove for a possible attorney-client privilege and executive privilege. So with the next 3 weeks left until the midterm elections and 2 years before the next presidential election is held, this is where we stand. This is where we stand, basically. Donald Trump's stranglehold on 40% of the electorate looks unassailable, since it hasn't been affected by the House committee hearings or a steady drumbeat of news by the DOJ investigation of Trump for possible serious felonies, including violations of the Espionage Act, which is intended to prosecute spies against the United States. The Select Committee has proved to the public, or at least to those who were watching, that Donald Trump conspired to overturn the 2020 presidential election in a number of ways, including inciting an armed mob to attack the seat of federal government. He knew that his vice squatter's life was in danger. He watched the Klan insurrection on TV in the White House and listened to reports that Capitol and Metropolitan Police were being attacked by his sycophants, and he did nothing. The Department of Justice is amassing evidence of crimes that could end up with Trump being indicted, and also, if found guilty, it could land him in prison. Now, here's the thing. 40% of the country is apparently just fine with all that. They will try to vote him back into office if he decides to run for squatter again. Now, given that Trump may end up being convicted of a felony that could bar him from holding any federal office, so basically, a felony that would bar him from holding any federal office, the words constitutional crisis comes to mind, and so do the words, we're fucking fucked. So if you like the video, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, RBW King. You can also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out. And if you want to support my work even further, you can donate to my Patreon link, which you can find in the about section of YouTube. And for just a little as a few bucks a month, your donation can help go a long way. And thanks for listening.